Okay, if I was to lose my seven-figure agency tomorrow, wake up and all of my clients are gone, my skill set has disappeared, I have no connections, no business whatsoever, there is only one other model that I would consider starting to get myself off the ground in the shortest time frame possible and maximize my chance of success. And I've mentored thousands of agency owners over the past 8 years and helped them launch, build and scale through many different agency models. My agency, Affluent.co, is an e-commerce agency. We went from 0 to multi-seven figures and still run that agency to this day. I helped Hamby Media go from 0 to over $500,000 a month in a creative agency. I very recently helped Impressive Click, who's a web development agency, hit almost $50,000 a month in revenue. So I'm not emotional or biased over a specific agency model, but every single day I am asked what the best model is for beginners to start right now. And what I'm going to talk about today is, without a shadow of a doubt, the best opportunity for beginners coming into 2025 and beyond. But don't take my word from it. I'm just a random guy on the internet, right? Make your own decision. I'm going to lay out all of the facts today. I'm going to outline what the ideal agency actually looks like as far as criteria. And then I'll run you through what this model is and how it works. And then you can make your own calculated decision on whether or not this is something you want to do. And for the small few of you that do end up starting within this model, you're truly going to get ahead of the masses. You are very, very early if you're watching this video soon around the release date. So the first thing I want to go through is what the ideal agency actually looks like. I've got some slides, I'm going to throw them up so we can look at that. If we're going to assess what the best model is for beginners, we have to consider what the best model even means, okay? And what we're talking about here is a business model, a specific type of agency. Who are we working with and what are we actually delivering? Well, the first thing is, we want to be going for a broad market. And what I mean by that is there needs to be a lot of potential customers in this pool. In the agency space, many people throw around the term of niching down. And niching down means you work with a very specific industry and offer them a very specific service. That is a very intelligent thing to do, but only when you are more established as a business owner and you have the skill set and knowledge required to actually do this. And for most people, like if you're watching this right now, if you don't have any unfair advantages, if you haven't been in a career already that has exposed you to having very clear knowledge of a specific industry or a specific service, then you don't want to go niche down. You only want to niche down from the start if you've already got a specific skill set that you can use and leverage, or you have significant knowledge of a specific industry or a niche, which means it makes logical sense for you to work with those guys. But for the majority of you, and certainly for me when I first started, you want to go what I call scattergun, you want to go broad, and you want to work with a large market. Okay? And then later down the line, we can hone in and we can get more niche as our experience grows. Now, the next thing we need is to actually get results. It should be pretty obvious, but many people work in industries that truly struggle to get results for their clients. And as an agency, we survive and thrive from the case studies that we generate. And case studies are proof that we've generated results for previous clients. So testimonials, documentation of the results that we've generated. And what this allows us to do is leverage those results, show them to other people. It's going to increase the amount of clients that we can sign. And then our agency starts to snowball over time. So the more case studies we get, the better our reputation. The more inbound clients we get, the more referrals we get. And hence, as if you imagine a snowball going down a hill, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, self-sustaining by itself. And so we need to actually get results. It also wants to be an in-demand service. Okay? Now, when I first started my agency, it was what you would call a traditional SMMA, a social media marketing agency. And I was offering organic services to local businesses. I signed up a restaurant, I signed up a gym, I signed up a dentist, I signed up a jewelry store. Okay? All local businesses in my local area. And the core service was organic social media management. So I would manage people's Instagram pages and post images on their behalf. And this was in a time where Instagram and Facebook were very, very new to companies. You went into a business and you expressed the interest to improve their social media presence, and this was like, wow, yes, I need to get on Instagram, yes, we need to get on Facebook, it's the new shiny thing. And so it was very, very easy for me to sign up clients in the early stages because it was a new shiny service that everybody wanted to get on top of. Okay, and so we have to consider whether or not what we are selling is something that is actually in demand from a cultural perspective, based on the latest technology, based on trends, based on the news, based on the media. Okay, so Is what we're selling something that's actually in demand by people, or are we fighting an uphill battle by trying to sell something to people that they don't already have the ingrained desire to actually want? Okay? We need low overhead. This is extremely important. We don't want to be building a business that means we have to spend a huge amount of money to actually fulfill these services. Now, granted, if you're watching this right now and you just want to make 10K a month in your business, then you can do that with just yourself as a solo business owner. If you want to be working, let's say, 40-hour weeks, for example, you can definitely make $10,000 a month or £10,000 a month, depending on where you're from. But if you want to be off the tools and you want to then have time freedom as well, where you're not spending all of your time, you're going to need probably one employee in the business in order to sustain that if you're in a simple agency model. Now, there are some agency models which I'm going to be going through. I'm not just going to be going through the best model today. I'm going to be outlining other models and in contrast, allowing you to make the decision on which avenue you should take. You might choose to go down a route of one of the other models I'm going to talk through. There are some models that mean your overheads are going to be higher, your delivery costs are going to be higher, and that means your profit margins are lower. So we want our profit margins to be as high as possible so we have as much freedom over our finances as possible, and there is as little complexity in the company as possible, because the more complexity is there, the more stress there's going to be, and the more things there are that can go wrong. Now, finally, it needs a scalable future. Okay, what do I mean by this? It needs to be a service that has future. So I'm thinking creative right now. If we think about creative, especially video creative, we're in a in a world which is incredibly content-centric. We're only going to be going more and more content-centric. Podcasts are all the rage, videos are all the rage, Instagram, Reels, TikToks, and so on. Our minds are so optimized around short-form, quick-fire content that creative is a good example of a scalable future. We're only going to get more ingrained in content, and it's going to evolve over time. AI is another exceptional example of that. We are just at the infancy of what is happening in AI right now. There is so much future, so much potential. And so if we're offering a service which is related to AI or content, then we have a pretty good stab at the chance that there is a lot of exciting progression on the horizon. And that's something that we want in the business. We want future. We don't want to be in an industry which is slowly declining, that has the opportunity to be replaced, okay? And therefore, there is a lack of desire for the service down the line, okay? So this is the ideal agency. If you think that I've missed anything here, drop a comment down below. This is what we want from an agency. It needs to be broad, we want to get results, it needs to be in demand, it needs to be low overheads, and it wants to be scalable, okay? This is not to be debated, okay? If you don't have these things in check, you're going to be making life harder for yourself, and the question would really be, why would you start an agency that didn't tick all of these boxes when there are models factually that exist that do, okay? We don't actively want to make our life harder than it needs to be if our goal is to start a business, because let me be honest with you, business is pretty damn difficult. If you haven't started a company yet, just to prepare you, you're probably not sure what you're getting yourself into yet. It's a difficult path in life. It is life on hard mode. Is it fulfilling? Yes. Are you going to be satisfied? Yes. Is it worth every single challenge and struggle? Absolutely. But it is going to be difficult. So why would you make your life hard for yourself by not having all of these things checked out? So let's go through the evolution of an agency. I want to kind of go back to when I first started the agency and how the service model has evolved over time. It is vital that you understand this because it will give you a deep understanding of where the agency model is going. History gives us clues on what is going to happen in the future. And so if you're to watch this video and truly understand why the model I'm going to reveal today to you is the best model, you have to understand what has brought us up to this point in the first place. So SMMA is an acronym, social media marketing agency, that was branded by a guy called Ty Lopez in a historic ad here in my garage. Okay, and it was an ad that I saw in 2017 that piqued my interest in starting my business when I was sat in this 9-to-5 office thinking, I really need to do something from my life. And I was just like, this agency thing sounds right to me. It was organic social media management, and then occasionally we would run some paid ads on Facebook. Okay, back then though, they were called boosted posts, and we would simply just press a boost button and then just hope some results would be generated. It was very, very primitive. So, yeah. And also just incredibly easy back then as well. So, yeah, silver linings and all that. And what happened over the next 2 years is agency owners realized that social media management was a service, and I'm talking about organic here, that was very, very time consuming to fulfill. And if you were posting Instagram posts and you're writing the captions and you're doing the same on Facebook, maybe even LinkedIn sometimes as well, you're probably only charging $400 or $500 a month to do this, but it's incredibly difficult to track results. And actually, it's very hard to get results, which is obviously one of those ticks from the list. We want to actually get results, and social media management is one of those questionable services, at least for local business. For larger companies that just want brand presence, it works. And so I think agencies realized that it was diminishing returns. They weren't making much money from it. It was very time consuming. And so agencies stopped really offering organic social media management. And they started focusing on the ads, and Facebook ads got more sophisticated, and the lead form ad got created. And this was when Facebook allowed you to create a form on the Facebook platform where people could fill in their name, email, and phone number to submit their details to opt in to a specific offer. Okay, so maybe it was a dentist and they were offering free teeth cleaning. Someone could register their interest. And then agencies started thinking, well, why don't we become lead generation agencies? Why don't we start generating big fat lists of leads on behalf of our clients and get rid of the organic side? And that's exactly what happened over the next 2 years. Many agencies then turned into a lead gen agency, where they would run Facebook ads, they would generate leads on a lead form, and they would send over that list of leads to the client at the end of every single month in the form of a spreadsheet. But what happened is the client struggled to convert those leads. And so agencies would find that even though everything looked great from their end, even though they were generating a big list of leads, the client would say, well, the leads aren't good enough, okay, because the client didn't have a strong enough sales process in order to actually convert the leads. And so, business owners being business owners, we look for solutions. And what happened was some business owners pivoted, some agencies pivoted to models like e-commerce, okay? Some agencies pivoted to models like creative, okay? So they were like, well, I'm not going to work with these local businesses anymore. This lead generation really isn't working well for me. Let me start working with online companies. And so they started working with online stores, e-commerce stores, and that's actually what I did in my agency. I started off as an SMMA, I went to lead generation, and then I was like, oh, I don't want to deal with all this lead nonsense. Let me start working with e-commerce brands. And that worked incredibly well for a lot of people. I helped someone else start an e-commerce agency, a guy called Ollie Hudson and Joe Marston, two guys that are in university. They started an e-commerce agency called Soar with us when they're in university. They now do $750,000 every single month. And they've got an incredible London office, just opened a Manchester office. Massive success in the e-commerce space, and they pivoted out of lead generation. But then you have, on the flip side to that, an agency like I mentioned earlier on, Hamby Media, who instead of going into e-commerce, pivoted into creative. They started video production, and this is an agency model that still exists to this day. And so people forked off from lead gen into e-com, into creative, all very viable models, okay? But they come with their own issues. And so we then saw some further evolution. With e-commerce, what happened was iOS 14 came along, Apple introduced a tracking cookie that meant that Facebook just didn't work in the same way it used to. Okay, targeting didn't really work the same way. People had to opt in to want to be able to fall into certain demographics and targeting options on Facebook. And so it used to be that we'd run ads and we'd be focused on the interests and the demographics and so on. It then changed to what it is now, where Facebook ads' success depend on the creative, on the visual elements. And so e-commerce agencies, including ourselves at Affluent.co, we had to pivot and evolve into what are now called performance creative agencies. And this is the ultimate, at least current, sophistication of the e-commerce agency market. This is the market that I'm in, this is the market that Soar of us are in, and many other e-com agencies. We have to offer creative, okay? So video production, static image production, etc., as a core service, and then we put paid spend behind it in order to increase revenue on behalf of brands. In the lead generation game, the guys were innovating, so we've always had our Affluent Academy program where we've helped thousands of people launch, build and scale agencies. Predominantly, most people have started lead generation agencies because it's always been the lowest friction agency for beginners to start. E-commerce requires working with a higher caliber of business, and so it's harder to sign those business owners. It's also a smaller client pool. Lead generation has always been my core recommendation to people just starting out. And so inside of our community, many people are innovating and not taking the complaints from the clients that the leads were bad quality. And what they started doing was appointment setting on behalf of the clients. And so they would actually start, instead of taking that list of leads and giving them to the client, they would call through those leads themselves, and they would book appointments with those leads on behalf of the client. So they would call up, let's say, a list of leads that opted into free teeth cleaning on behalf of a dentist client, and they would say, hey, John, I noticed that you opted into our free teeth cleaning coupon. I just wanted to see if you're free over the next couple of days to get you booked in for that treatment. They get them booked in, the client's happy because they're actually converting the leads. And the reason why this worked is because the agency broadly is a better salesperson than the dentist is, and they've got more time to actually follow up with those leads appropriately and so on and so forth. And this is where, if you've heard of Go High Level, the software, this is where Go High Level really came in and started dominating the industry as far as the best agency software, because they were the software that everybody used really for the appointment setting side of the service. So appointment setting is still a very, very viable model for the agency space, albeit there has been an ultimate evolution of that model, which is something I'm going to talk about in a moment. Now, what happened in the creative space? Well, many people started producing high-quality creative. So by high quality, I'm talking like filmmaker-style videos, high-production product videos, kind of all the studio-style shots and so on. But with the birth of TikTok, a new creative format was born, and this is called UGC, or user-generated content. TikTok completely changed the way we look at content, and what UGC is that selfie-style iPhone video where someone is talking about their experience with a product, they're demonstrating the value of the product and so on. And it took the industry by storm, and broad creative-based agencies had to pivot to at least include a UGC-based offer. Some agencies just offered UGC. We have an agency that we mentor called For You Advertising that just offer UGC. They're a multi-six-figure a month agency. And then you have other agencies like Canby Media that offer creative, that high production, static, and UGC. But either way, creative agencies had to evolve. So what I'm getting at here by running through this all with you, by giving you this history lesson on agencies, is how important it is that over time agencies evolve. Whatever you decide to do after you watch this video, know that you're getting into this space not to stick at one thing forever. You're going to get into this space and commit to evolving with the model that you pick. And also know that you don't just have to stick with whatever you choose to start off with. I started as an SMMA. I went to lead generation, I then went to e-com, I then went to performance creative. So our agency has pivoted 4 times over the past 8 years of running that business. And actually, that is a vital part of running any business. There's a book I recommend you reading called The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek. And within The Infinite Game, one of the rules is remaining liquid and fluid throughout your entire business journey. Many people see their business as a finite thing. I want to start a company. I want to get to 100K a month in revenue, and that's my finite goal. But the people that truly succeed are those that remain liquid throughout their entire growth journey. An example of that would be Kodak, who used to be the largest camera company in the world. They literally invented the personal handheld camera. And then Canon came along and introduced the digital camera. And Kodak had the opportunity time and time again to introduce their own digital camera. But they pivoted way too late and ended up getting replaced by Canon over time due to their inability to look at things from an infinite perspective. Instead, they were so finite, fixated on physical film-based cameras. But what I'm talking about here is for those of you that don't already have a model outlined. You don't already have a very, very clear unfair advantage and an avenue you want to go down. Because let's be honest, the reason why you're watching this video is because you want a model. You want to know the most logical path to take as a beginner. And that logical path, let's say you joined our mentorship program, has always been us recommending this horizontal line that we're seeing right now. It's SMMA, then it was lead generation, then it was appointment setting. Over the years, it's evolved into those things. That is the natural evolution of the exact same model. That's what we have to understand. SMMA and appointment setting is the same model evolved over time. But what has happened with an appointment setting is agency owners have realized it's not the perfect solution as it is. And as always, we're looking for ways to innovate. Appointment setting is very time consuming. We have to call up all of the leads, we have to send them SMS and emails, and if we've got 10 clients generating 30 leads a month, for example, that's a lot of work. And it's certainly something that we can't do as the business owner, so we have to hire someone to do it on our behalf. So now it becomes not only time intensive, but it's also financially intensive as well. But what happened in 2024? Well, AI went parabolic. And one of the first practical applications of AI has been AI sales-based agents. It's been the ability to pre-program an AI model with a knowledge base so it understands the client and what they do and has access to their calendar and can now have direct communication via SMS and email on our behalf 24/7. And not only can we do that via SMS and email, but we can also now do this via AI phone agents as well. So we can outbound call 2 leads that opt into our ads at any time of the day, and someone can have a conversation with the AI and book in a meeting. So not only are we now not having to hire appointment setters, so we're saving literally thousands in operational costs and overheads, and now just spending a couple of £100 or dollars on software, but we're also dramatically increasing the results that we generate. And the reason why is because AI is responding 24/7. AI is responding incredibly quickly. And it's the speed to contact that is actually the reason that we're able to now get such better results. In fact, we actually launched a test ourselves. First of all, we split tested our human appointment setters in an agency called V8 Media. It's a partner agency of ours. They're the largest agency in South Africa, a 7-figure agency. We split tested an AI appointment setting bot versus their human appointment setters. Double the results on meeting book rate used by using an AI appointment setting bot. But what was then even more interesting is we doubled again the meeting book rate from 4% to 8%, meeting book rate being the percentage of people that book a meeting from an initial message, from 4% to 8% by changing one thing. And that one thing was reducing the response time on the AI sales agent from 6 minutes to 1 minute. How can a human compete with that? What are we meant to do? Send a message to our entire team saying, guys, you've got to respond to everyone now in 1 minute because it's going to double the results that we generate. It's just not happening. But that is incredibly exciting. And that is why the most logical model to start right now, I truly believe, without a shadow of a doubt, is an AI lead generation agency. Because we are now able to offer the ultimate sophistication of what the SMMA model truly wanted to be right from the beginning. It's our ability to not only generate new potential customers on behalf of a client, of a business, but we're also able to then book those clients in direct with the client so they have the highest chance of actually converting them and getting the sale. So we're able to completely overcome the biggest objection that we've dealt with for 8 years, which is, I can't convert the leads. And we don't have to spend all this money or all this time in order to do it because we can use sophisticated AI systems in order to do it on our behalf. And the crazy thing about this and why it's so scalable is we are literally just at the infancy of this industry. I don't think you quite understand what this industry is going to turn into. The AI industry is set to grow at 38.1% every single year for the next 10 years. So almost 50% growth every year for the next 10 years. Not even I can imagine what that's going to mean for this model in 5 to 10 years' time. And if you're watching this right now, you're getting in so early. And that to me is just unbelievably exciting. It's a very full circle moment to be recording this video when we finally have a solution in this space, or are as close to a solution, the perfect solution as possible, that solves all of the issues that I used to face 8 years ago when I first started my agency. So let's just revisit this ideal agency criteria in the context of AI lead generation. And then finally, I want to revisit this in the context of some other very popular models that we haven't yet gone through today. Okay? So first of all, is it a broad market? Who could actually want AI lead generation? Well, the truth is, any business that needs to generate leads, which is a damn lot of businesses, it's like 90% of companies, is suitable for AI lead generation. So yes, it's an incredibly broad market. Does it actually get results? Absolutely. I have never seen a service that's able to generate results with such little spend, such little investment from the clients. I've never seen something that's able to get that return on investment before in anything. Okay, it shits on everything else I know. In demand, absolutely. AI is, of course, a buzzword. Everybody is going hysterical over AI. And to be perfectly frank, it's not even a household name yet. When your mum and dad aren't even talking about AI, then you know you are early. And so this reminds me very much of what it was like to even say the word. The word AI is like the word Facebook when I first started my agency. I went into a local business and I say the word Facebook and I'm like, Facebook? Oh my God. Which is just crazy when you think about that. That's what it reminds me of. AI is now that word. It like pricks people's ears up. They hear it and they're like, oh yeah, I need that. And there's a fear. There's a FOMO right now, a fear of missing out. Business owners are afraid that their competitors are going to overtake them. Everyone is being told by the media that we're about to see the biggest leveling of the playing field in history because of AI. And so people are scared right now. So they don't want to miss out on it. So is it in demand? Hell yeah. Low overheads, massive. This is huge. The fact now that as a AI lead generation agency, the only team that we need to build is sales and service, but I don't think you understand how simple that is. One person on the sales side that is what's called a sales development representative. I'm talking like if you're like a 20 to 50k a month agency. You'll have maybe a sales development representative who will be doing some outbound sales and some closing for you. You'll then need a media buyer. This is someone that runs ads, okay? Off the back of that, that frees up your time as the business owner. Your time as the business owner can be spent building systems. The ultimate sophistication of AI lead generation, which some agencies are tapping into already, certainly some in our community, some aren't quite yet, is not just offering AI appointment setting, but it's also then building custom bespoke AI systems to implement on a specific market. You can only really do that to help them with their operations, to help them with our CRM, to help them with just process and time efficiency. You can only really do that when you've got a deep understanding of that specific niche. So that's something you kind of do down the line. But you as the business owner will probably be the one playing around with that initially. So that's two main team members that you would need to be making between 20 and 50k a month within the agency, which is absolutely mental when you compare that to another model. To be making 20 to 50k a month as an e-commerce agency, okay, you need many team members, which is why I've never recommended, even though I own an e-commerce agency, I've never recommended other people to start an e-commerce agency from scratch. Because if you want to work with an e-com client, you're not just running their ads, so you don't just need a media buyer, but you also need someone who's going to maybe build out landing pages. You also need someone who's going to build out the creative. It's not just one person that builds creative. You need a creative strategist who thinks about the strategy, and then you need the actual videographer, and maybe even a graphic designer, okay? And then we need someone who's going to manage the accounts and manage the communication, because those clients are incredibly time-consuming to manage. Maybe someone in operations as well. It gets very messy very quickly. If we look at a creative-based agency, then we need a videographer, we need a graphic designer, we need a creative strategist. Those are 3 people before we've even got started, okay? We're going to be playing that role as the business owner, but as we evolve, we need those 3 people straight away, okay? And when by straight away, I mean like 10k and above. Let's explore another model. What about IGPA, Info Product Growth Agency? Okay, so it's an agency that works with info product businesses. Well, that's even more complex. What people don't understand about info products is the marketing is just one very small piece of it. Okay, it's about the brand, it's about the product especially. Okay, it's about the presence, it's about the leverage that they've got. So as an agency, if we're looking to market them, we've got to think about the ads, we've got to think about the landing page, but not just the landing page, we've got to think about, let's say, the video sales letter, the VSL, so we've got to consult on that as well, we've got to get that edited, we've got to know the email and SMS flows that are going to go alongside that. We've got to think about the delivery of the product as well and how that goes hand in hand, and then the upsells, so there's a consulting element too. So we've potentially got lots of different things that we have to do on behalf of that client in order to get them the desired result. Am I saying it's a bad model? Absolutely not. It's a great model. There are many successful agencies that are very successful in it. Is it a suitable model for beginners? No. But no, it's not good for beginners at all. You're going to get into the absolute bullpen. It's like e-commerce. It's the same reason I don't recommend that. It's the same reason I don't recommend e-commerce for beginners. Are they bad models? No, they're just not suitable for the average Joe who hasn't yet got a depth of experience within that industry. But with those models like e-com and info products, if we get our list back up and we actually see from the ideal agency for beginners, is it a broad market? No, it's very, very niche. Do you actually get results? Yes, you can, but if you're good. You have to be really, really good and you have to be experienced to get results. So, of course, but if you're not as a beginner, is it an in-demand service? Yes, it is, but it's incredibly hard to sign up clients because it's a small market, so they're hit very heavily by agencies, and there's a lot of good agencies in the space. Low overhead, fuck no. Incredibly expensive, very low profit margins in those models. Scalable future, yes. So what do we got? We've got like 2.5 out of 5 of those. So is it suitable for beginners? Absolutely not. Is it suitable for an established agency? Yes, of course. But if we look at AI lead gen, we tick every single box on this ideal agency criteria. So anyway, I get asked every day what the best model is for beginners. AI lead generation is the best model without a shadow of a doubt. So if you want to learn more, I actually created a full video, an A to Z, on this channel where I go through how to find clients, how to sign them, how to lay your foundations, the best sales meeting strategy that you can use to actually get clients over the line, and I outline the full service and exactly you want to offer on behalf of your clients. I'll put a link in the description. If you want, you can go check that out and you can get ahead right now. I'll speak to you soon. Cheers.